Hi viewers, this is a quick video on how to model this 3D model from the StudyCADCAM website in FreeCAD using the PartDesign workbench. If you're a beginner in FreeCAD, watch this video until the end. Any difficulties you might have could be solved right here in this video using the stable version of FreeCAD. Let's go. On the start page of FreeCAD 1.0, I will choose to create an empty file document pressing this option. I am working with the PartDesign workbench. So before I start designing any 3D model, I need first to create a PartDesign body object as the default of this workbench. So to create a body object, I press this icon, and here I have the object, the body object, which will store all information related to the solid creation. Now that I have the body object, I'm going to create the base shape of this 3D model. So I will create a sketch first in the XY plane. I click on the grid sketch icon and I select the XY plane to attach this sketch. I click it here and the program will automatically take me to the Sketcher workbench, as you see in the workbench selector. Now I'm going to create a geometry in the sketch using the Sketcher geometry tools, these tools here. I'm going to select the centered rectangle. I click in here and I select this option, centered rectangle. And now I'm going to run the corners of this rectangle, checking this option on the task panel. I click in here in this option, and next I click on the region axis and I draw this rectangle. I will set 125 millimeters by 90 millimeters and a corner radius of 10 millimeters. And the sketch is full constrained, as you see. If I escape this tool, as you see in the source image, this sketch is full constrained. So I can close this to form my first shape. Now that I have the sketch here, I can use it to create the first shape. To do that, I select the path tool. This tool will extrude this sketch, as you see. And I will set this extrusion to 25 millimeters and OK. The next thing I'm going to do is to create this pocket here. To do that, I will reuse the first sketch. So I go to my document. In this first pad here, I'm going to expand this arrow and select the sketch. With this sketch selected, I press Ctrl C to create a copy, and on this window I select use original selection, so I will not have problems with the sketch. I click in here and now I press Ctrl V to paste the sketch on the document. Now I have to move the sketch into this body. To do that, I drag the sketch into this body, and here I have this. Now with this sketch selected, I will press spacebar to make it visible. If I select this pad operation here and hit spacebar, as you see here I have a sketch. Now I will make this pad visible, spacebar, and my intention now is to attach this sketch here on the top face of this base shape here. To do that, I will select the sketch, right click and go to attachment editor. As you see on this task panel, the sketch is attached in the XY plane. I'm going to change to this face here. To do that, I click on this button and this text appears, and now I select this face here and I press OK. I double click on this sketch and now I double click on the horizontal dimension, and here I will set, I drag this small window to here and I set 125 millimeters minus 5.5 millimeters 2 times, and I get this dimension 114 millimeters. Now I double click on this dimension and I set 90 millimeters minus 11 and I get 79 millimeters. And now I change the radius here to, let me drag this window to here and I set 10 millimeters minus 5.5 and I get 4.5 millimeters. Now I close the sketch and I select the pocket tool to create a pocket, and the length will be 10 millimeters. So I set 10 and now enter, and I have this. Now I'm going to create these small extrusions here. I will start creating these cylinders. So I go to my document, and first here I selected this internal face and then I create a sketch on this face. Now I switch to the session view, pressing this icon, and now I go to sketch geometries and I select cycle tool. I create a cycle here. This cycle, I will constrain its diameter to 18 millimeters, and next I will change these geometries to construction geometries. I press this icon to do that, and next I select the centered rectangle tool. I click on the horizontal axis, and now I click on the center point of this cycle, and here I have this, as you see. Now I skip this tool and I drag this rectangle to here, and next I select the dimension tool, and now I click on this line here. I click off and I set 33.5 millimeters and enter. Now I select this line here and the horizontal axis, and I set 33 divided by 2, and I get 16.5 millimeters. Now I click on this line here and I click off now, and I set 7 millimeters. Now what I'm going to do is to create 3 cycles in the corners of this rectangle. To do that, first I will hide this all constraints pressing this icon, and I will change to normal geometries because I want these cycles to appear in the extrusion operation. So I select the cycle tool and I create 4 cycles here in the corners of this rectangle. Now I skip this tool and I select these all cycles and this way, and also this constrained cycle, and I press equal to make them equal. As you see here, this cycle is not constrained. I skip this tool and I selected these 2 points here in this way, and I select constraint constant to constrain it. Now I press escape 2 times to leave this sketch, and I select path tool to extrude these geometries. And here I have this. Now I press OK. And my next step now is to create this cylinder here. To do that, I will edit geometry in the same sketch that I use it to create these 4 cylinders here. I go to the model tab, I go to this last pad here, I click on this arrow, and now double click on this sketch. Next, on the sketch workbench, I select cycle tool and the sketch geometries, and now I create a cycle on the horizontal axis, and this cycle I'm going to set a radius of 27.5. To do that, first I skip this tool, I select this cycle and I click in here and I select constraint radius 27.5 millimeters, and I enter, and I have this. Next, I'm going to select the dimension tool, and now I click on the center point, and now on the vertical axis, and here I will set 65 millimeters divided by 2, and I get 32.5 millimeters from the origin axis to the center point of the cycle. Now I skip 2 times, and as you can see, I have this extrusion here. Next, I'm going to create another sketch on this face here. I select this face, and now I create a sketch on this face, and the idea now is to create geometries for these extrusions here. Okay, what I do first, I select the external geometry tool in the sketch workbench, as you see. Okay, and I extract this edge to get the center point, this edge. If you can't see the edge that you are extracting, like me, you can switch to the session view to see it. Just press this icon. Next, I select the polygon tool, and what I do here, I click on this point, now on the center point, and now on this center point here. And next I create a horizontal line, and next a vertical line, and now this line here, and I will make this line here a horizontal line. To do that, I select this tool here, and now I press this line. And next I will select the dimension tool to constrain this geometry. I click on this one here and I set 8 millimeters. Okay, now I skip this tool. I select these 2 points here and I press and I place a constraint constant, and this geometry is full constrained. Now I hide this constraint here, pressing this icon, and I select the polygon tool, and now I created this geometry. Here I will create a horizontal line, and now this line here, and next this line, and now a horizontal line. I will make this line here a horizontal line. Now I skip this tool, I select these 2 endpoints here and I place a horizontal constraint, as you see. And now I select these 2 points here and I place a horizontal constraint also. Next here, what I'm going to do is to change to construction jumps and then select the line tool. And what I do now, I just click on the center point and now on this center point here. And next I'm going to create a line in these 2 lines here like this. And next I will use the constraint constant and constraint this point here on this line. And now I use the constraint perpendicular and I make this line and this line perpendicular, and now I use the parallel constraint and I make this line and this line perpendicular parallel, and now this line parallel to this line here, and I have this. And I will do the same thing here for these 2 lines, parallel lines. And now I will select the equal constraint and make this line here and this line equal. And also I will select constraint symmetric, and now I selected this point. I selected this point here, now this endpoint and the horizontal axis, and I have this, as you can see. I zoom in here and I selected this endpoint here, now this endpoint and this point here. So now these 2 lines here is centered on this construction line here. Now what is missing is to set the length, the distance of these 2 lines here. To do that, I will select the dimension tool, this tool, and now I click in this line here and I will define a length of 5 millimeters like this. And what is missing now is to use the constraint constant and constrain this point here on the horizontal axis. Okay, like this. And now I skip 2 times to leave this sketch, and next I select the path tool and I press OK here, and as you can see I have this. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is to create fillets in the edge of the solid here. To do that easily, I will change the draw style to wireframe. To do that, I go to this tool here, I click in here and I select wireframe, or I can use this keyboard shortcut here. Okay, here I have this. I will select the first edge, I click on this edge here and then I select fillet tool and I change the radius here to 1.35 millimeters like this. And now I press select, and now I'm going to select all edges that I need on the fillet operation. So I select this edge, this one here, and now I'm going to change to the flatline draw style. To do that, I can press V+7 on the keyboard and I have this. Now I click in preview. As you see, I have this. I press OK to finish this operation. And next I'm going to create a sketch on this face here. So I select this face and then create sketch icon. I select the external jump tool and I extract this edge, this one here, this edge, and this edge here to get a center points of this. Now with these points extract, the idea is to add circular geometries to create these holes. Okay, so I go to my document and next I change to normal geometry first and then I select cycle. Now I click in here. Now I click in the center point, create a cycle. Now I create this cycle. Now this cycle, and next this cycle. Now I skip this tool and now I select these 4 cycles in this way. And what I do next, I go to dimension tool, I select constraint diameter and I set 9 millimeters here and enter. Now I select centered rectangle, I click on the horizontal axis and now I click on the vertical axis, and here I have this. Now I skip 2 times to leave the sketch, and next I select pocket tool and I change the tab here to toggle to remove material. And OK here, and I have this, as you can see. Now what I'm going to do is to create these holes here, as you can see. To do that, I will go to my document and select these 4 holes, control, select this hole, now this one here, and this hole, and this hole, and now I select the hole tool of PartDesign Workbench, and I can add transparency to this part here to see what happens on this model. So first I will press home on my keyboard and change to the front view, and now I zoom in here. To add transparency to this model, I can select, for example, this face here, and press V plus T on the keyboard, and here I have this, as you can see. Now I'm going to change the diameter here to 12 millimeters and the depth of this extrusion to 17.5 millimeters. And now to see the result here, I think I have to reverse the whole direction. So I will check this option, and as you can see, I have this. I have to remove this to the point here. To do that, I scroll down here and I set flat. And here I have this. Now I press OK to finish this. And next I press home on my keyboard, and I will remove the transparency of this 3D model. So I select, for example, this face. I can go to View and select this option, Toggle Transparency. And here I have this. Next here, I'm going to select this face here and create a sketch on it. The idea now is to create a cycle here in the center point of the cylinder and use that sketch to create this hole. First I switch to the session view, I select the external jump tool and extract this edge here to get a center point. And now I select cycle tool, I click on the center point here, and I set 35 millimeters for the diameter of the cycle, skip 2 times, and now select pocket tool and reverse the duration, and now I set toggle here, and here I have this. Now I press OK. Next I selected this face here and I create a sketch on it, and the idea now is to create 2 cycles for this hole here. To do that, I will select the external geometry tool and extract this edge here to get the center point. And now I select cycle tool and I create 2 cycles in the center point. Okay, and next I select the dimension tool, I click on this cycle here and I click off and set a diameter of 50 millimeters. And now for this cycle, I will set 43 millimeters. And here I have this. Skip 2 times to leave this sketch, and now I select pocket tool, and the length of this pocket is 5 millimeters. So I press OK, and I select this face here, and then I create a fillet on it of 1.35 millimeters. And now I go to the model, and what is missing now is to create a mirror of this 3D model. To do that, I can select the body object and then go to the mirror tool, this tool here. I click on its icon. As you see, I'm transforming the body object. So what I have to do now is to set the correct plane for this mirror operation. The correct plane here is the YZ plane. So I go to the task panel. On the plane, I click in here and I select YZ plane. And I have this, as you can see. Now I press OK to finish this. And this is the final model. Thank you for watching this video. If you find this video useful, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed, and also share this video with your friends. And if you want to support the content of the channel, you can do that. Just go to the description of this video and you will find a link to the channel's Ko-Fi page. Or you can support the channel buying the ebook that's appearing on the screen now. Thank you for watching this video. I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you.